Obviously, he's damaged in some way. You know, he's in the hospital and he's been kept in a statement here from Ben Shalom. I've just filed a piece to the Telegraph as a statement here from Ben Shalom, which has just come through his press officer, Ed Roth. Please confirm that Chris, can I read this to you?
Yeah.
Do you think there'd be any discussions about potentially removing that for the rematch if it were to happen?
Yeah, I think maybe Junior should come down a little bit lower rather than Conor Benn coming up 2 weight classes. You know, I was baffled. I mean,
former world champion Chris Eubank has been hospitalized following a demanding 12-round showdown with Conor Benn. However, fans are growling with anticipation over a potential rematch between Chris Eubank and Conor Benn, flooding social media with calls for a second showdown after their brutal 12-round battle. Ben Shalom said that right now the only focus is on celebrating the moment. He explained that it took a long time to reach this point and that everyone, especially Chris Eubank Jr., has been through a lot. Shalom said the victory means everything at the moment and they will wait about a week before discussing the future. Although people are already talking about what's next, no decisions have been made yet. He praised Eubank, calling him a superstar and the current star of British boxing.
Look, I think there's nothing that we're thinking about right now other than celebrating this moment. It's been such a long time in the making. I think, as I said, we've all been through so much, Eubank Jr. in particular. And so to come out the other side victorious is all we're thinking about right now. We'll sit down in a week and start to look at the future and make announcements then. Of course, you know, that's what everyone's talking about, but no decisions will be made yet. And he's a superstar. He's a star in British boxing right now.
Shalom added that Eubank Jr. is the people's champion. He said Eubank stood up against the boxing system, including the promoters and the British Boxing Board. Shalom admired how Eubank always stayed true to his word and believed in himself, even from a young age. He said Eubank deserves to be celebrated for what he did on Saturday night, calling it legendary. For now, Shalom believes Eubank needs time to enjoy his victory and reflect on everything he has achieved before deciding on his next move.
He is the people's champion. He's the one that went up against the establishment. He's the one that went up against the promoters, the British board. He was the one that always stood true on his word. And you know, you saw in the clips of when he was telling his dad he wanted to be a boxer. That's the Chris that I know. That's the Chris that still exists. He perseveres, he stands for what he believes in, he won't let anyone tell him no, and he needs to be celebrated, I hope, because what he did on Saturday night was legendary, it really was. And yeah, he needs this moment now to take it in, to celebrate, to take stock of what he's just done, and yeah, and then we'll decide what's next.
Moreover, Eddie Hearn praised the Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn fight as one of the greatest ever seen in the UK, but expressed concern over a rematch, saying the real danger was to Benn, not Eubank. While fans may want to see it again, Hearn warned that such brutal fights can shorten a boxer's career, and Benn, with a long future ahead, shouldn't take too many risks. He confirmed that the rematch terms are already agreed and match the original contract, but stressed the importance of thinking carefully before moving forward.
I think we got it absolutely right. I think they served you up one of the greatest fights we've ever seen in this country. But for me, the danger was not for Chris Eubank Jr. The danger was for Conor Benn. And that's why we've got to think very carefully about the rematch. Because I don't want to see him in too many fights like that. You know, it's all very well us sitting there and going, wow, what a fight, let's do it again. They're the kind of fights that will shorten your career. And he's got such a long career ahead of him. So, you know, the terms are already agreed for the rematch, with, you know, to move forward. And it's the same as the first contract in that respect. So I think we got it spot on with the numbers.
Frank Warren acknowledged that a rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn is already in the contract, but made it clear he isn't personally interested in seeing it. Instead, he said his focus is on his own fighters, like Hamza Shiraz and Denzel Bentley. Warren stated he's not involved in the Eubank or Benn business and would prefer to see one of his boxers face the winner next.
Well, they've got a rematch, it's in the contract.
Yeah, but do you want to see one?
Do I want to see it? I want to see him fight my guys. That's all I want. I'm not in the Chris Eubanks or Conor Benn business. I'm in the Shiraz business, Hamza Shiraz business, and I'm in the Denzel Bentley business, and that's the fight I'd like to see.
Chris Eubank Jr.'s trainer said a rematch is possible and revealed that discussions about it took place even before the first fight happened. While he couldn't confirm anything for certain, he admitted that the possibility is very real.
You expect from being in his team that the rematch will be next?
It's possible. They already talked about it. They talked more about that before they did this fight. So it's possible. I can't say for sure, but it's possible.
However, Gareth A. Davies reported that Chris Eubank Jr. is currently in the hospital following his intense fight with Conor Benn. Ben Shalom confirmed that Eubank is doing well and resting, reassuring fans that the rumors of a broken jaw are untrue. As part of standard post-fight protocol, Eubank is undergoing precautionary checks to monitor his vitals and ensure everything is in order. Shalom emphasized the importance of these measures, especially given past experiences, and noted that they now prioritize such checks after every fight.
Obviously, he's damaged in some way. He's in the hospital and he's been kept in a statement here from Ben Shalom. I've just filed a piece to the Telegraph. There's a statement here from Ben Shalom, which has just come through his press officer, Ed Roth. Pleased to confirm that Chris... Can I read this to you?
Yeah.
I'm pleased to confirm that Chris is doing well and currently resting. There's no truth to the rumours regarding a broken jaw. As part of his standard post-fight protocol, Chris is at the hospital for precautionary checks to monitor his vitals and ensure everything is in order. They take these measures very seriously, given everything they've experienced in the past. This process is something they now prioritize after every fight.
Shalom also reflected on the monumental nature of the fight, describing it as the biggest legacy fight of all time, with both Eubank and Ben giving everything in the ring. He acknowledged the significance of the moment, with their father standing proudly behind them. Eubank will remain in the hospital for the day to complete his checks, ensuring that all precautionary steps are taken for his health and safety.
Chris and Conor gave absolutely everything in what was the biggest legacy fight of all time, with their father standing proudly behind them. It was a moment that will forever be stamped in sporting history. And my understanding is, on those precautionary measures, he's going to stay in today and just get his checks.
In an interview, Ben Shalom said Chris Eubank Jr. is absolutely on top of the world following his emotional and career-defining fight against Conor Benn. He described the experience as unforgettable for Eubank and his team, noting it took days to come down from the high. Shalom praised Eubank's performance after a tough training camp, calling it everything the fighter had ever dreamed of. He added that Eubank is doing very well and that everyone around him is incredibly proud of what he achieved on such a historic night.
You know what? He's absolutely on top of the world. It's taken a couple of days to almost come down from an unbelievable experience of what it was for all of his team, but particularly him. It's been a hard camp, but to be in a sort of a legacy-defining fight like that is everything that he's ever dreamt of. And yeah, I'm really proud of him. Everyone connected with Chris right now is emotional. It was a very emotional night. It was a great night, and he performed extremely well. So yeah, he's doing very, very well.
However, Chris Eubank Jr. secured a career-defining victory, showcasing heart, skill, and resilience in one of British boxing's most emotional nights. Frank Warren shared his thoughts on the fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, describing it as a very exciting night of boxing. He believed that at one point Benn was ahead by a couple of rounds, particularly in the early stages when he was sharp, moving well, and even appeared to hurt Eubank. However, Warren noted that as the fight progressed, things even out by the 10th round, and from that point onward, Eubank's size advantage became a key factor. He also mentioned that Eubank had been severely weight drained going into the fight, which made his performance even more impressive.
I mean, I was there. I thought it was a very exciting fight. I thought it was an exciting night. I felt that Conor was at one stage was in front a couple of rounds. I think it evened up by about the 10th round, and after the 10th round, the size mattered. Having said that, you know, he was absolutely weight drained. Chris Eubank Jr. He was weight drained.
Despite the early success Ben had, Warren felt he ultimately wasn't big enough to keep control in the later rounds. He wasn't surprised by how good the fight was, pointing out the emotional stakes, with both fighters competing in front of their legendary fathers. Warren said that given the occasion, it was always going to be a thrilling contest. He concluded that Chris Eubank Jr. edged the victory, particularly due to his strong showing in the final 2 rounds.
But I thought that Conor, when he started up very early in the fight, he was moving, he was slipping, he was sliding, and he was doing really well. And I think he hurt him a couple of times. But he was, he just, to be honest, he just wasn't big enough.
Were you a little surprised about how good the fight was?
No, because look, their dads are there. They're fighting in front of their dads. What do you think they're going to do? They pull out all the stops. It was always going to be a good fight at the levels of their career where they're at now. It was a great fight.
And you thought Junior nicked it?
No, I don't think he won it. I thought Chris Eubanks won it. I thought he was in front at one stage, but I thought the last 2 rounds give him a
That's what I meant, Junior, Chris, yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Well, they're both juniors. Yeah, but I thought he won it at the end.
Chris Eubank Jr.'s trainer said he felt good after the fight, praising both Eubank and Conor Benn for putting their hearts on the line and giving everything they had. He emphasized that if either fighter could have given more to the crowd, they would have. In his view, the biggest winner was Great Britain, as 2 homegrown talents delivered an unforgettable performance for their country. He called it a rare and special moment in boxing that will be talked about for years, and expressed pride in walking away with the victory.
I feel pretty good. I mean, I thought he fought again. I'm the type of guy, I pay homage to both fighters. I thought they both put their hearts on the line.
Yeah.
I thought they both gave everything they had. And if they could have gave more to the crowd, they would have gave more.
Yeah.
I think the biggest winner was Great Britain. Just my opinion. You got 2 native people put on a massive performance just for the hometown.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get that all the time. That's a rare commodity that you can have. So
yeah, for sure.
I think that this fight would be talked about for a very long time.
For sure.
But I'm happy that we get to walk away with the victory, to answer your question.
Of course.
Adam Smith praised the fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn as an extraordinary battle filled with pride, heart, and determination. He noted that neither fighter took a backward step, and that, while it may not have been technically elite, it was a thrilling and memorable contest that captivated fans. Smith emphasized that this was the kind of bout that reminds people why they love boxing, describing it as a night to remember. He held off on discussing scorecards at first, instead highlighting the courage and effort both fighters showed in the ring.
I don't want to talk about the scores at the minute. I just want to say what an extraordinary fight that was between 2 guys who did not take a backward step, did not want to lose. There was so much pride on the line. I thought it was an incredible battle. Yes, maybe not technically elite world class, but it was just a fight to remember and a night that the fans loved, and we've got to see it again. I thought Eubank won. I didn't think it was that wide, but rounds were close.
Smith ultimately felt that Eubank deserved the win, though he acknowledged that many of the rounds were close. He praised Conor Benn's speed and moments of success during the fight, but said Eubank grew stronger in the later rounds, using his jab effectively and applying pressure. At one point, he even thought Benn might win, but Eubank's finish sealed the result in his view. Despite the outcome, Smith stressed that both fighters should be celebrated for their performances, and said the rematch is something everyone wants to see.
I thought Conor had his moments. I thought he boxed really well at times. I think his speed was really troubling Chris, but I thought Chris, forced it out really. He got his jab going. He pushed Conor back towards the end. He was really getting stronger, which I thought maybe the other way around. I thought maybe Conor would come on late. At one point I thought Conor Benn was going to win the fight, but I thought Chris just closed well, and I thought the right guy got the decision. And to be honest, it didn't really matter. It was just a fantastic fight, and both of them deserve to be, covered in glory in the next few days, and we all want to see it again.
Fraser Clark praised the fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, calling it fantastic and saying he enjoyed every second of it. He believed Eubank edged the win in what he described as a very close contest, with both fighters delivering a thrilling performance. Clark also noted that from a business perspective, a rematch is inevitable and expected, given the excitement and attention the bout generated.
No, good fight. you don't want nothing more. As a boxing fan, that was fantastic. I enjoyed every second of it. Good fight. Happy.
What did you think of Eubank's performance? Do you think he won the fight?
Yeah, I think he won the fight. It's a good fight though. Really close, really close. Everything was. I think it's a good fight.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think Eubank should do, or do you think they should run it back, Fraser?
Of course, it's a business. They can run it back, man.
Joe Cordina admitted the match was extremely tight. He mentioned he thought Conor Benn had the edge in the early half, dominating the first 6 rounds. Meanwhile, Chris Eubank Jr. seemed to lack rhythm in the latter stages. Cordina also expressed his disappointment with the judge's decision, calling the scores unjust. He believed a draw would have been a far more reasonable outcome based on how the bout unfolded.
First off, I don't think it was as wide as that. It's definitely not. Early on, first 6 rounds I had Conor, first 7 rounds I had Conor up, and then after that I was saying to my wife, I said, Chris is pulling back now, and then he's going like 1 round up, 1 round down, and it's level, and then it was the last 2 rounds. It was quite hard to score because they were both giving it 100% and giving everything they had. They weren't leaving no stone unturned in there, and yeah, and unfortunately it didn't go Conor's way, but I definitely didn't have it that wide. If it was a draw, that would have probably been right for me.
Eddie Hearn shared his thoughts too, saying he believed Conor Benn was clearly ahead in the opening 3 rounds. He felt the contest was much tighter overall and questioned the 116 to 112 tallies, admitting they seemed puzzling and didn't reflect what he saw in the ring.
I liked our position through the fight. I thought we won maybe even the first 3 rounds. One I think was a close round, and then we had a good spell. I can't remember now, I think like 9, 10, gave a few of the mid rounds up. Was it 8? No, I don't know. But I thought, to be honest with you, and this is honest, I think it's a draw, but I don't think we're going to get it. I just didn't expect 116, 112 3 times.
Eddie Hearn took issue with how the bout was judged, voicing his frustration over the final scorecards. Still, he acknowledged he couldn't be too upset, as his main takeaway was pride in Conor Benn's exceptional display. Hearn stressed that win or lose, Benn's performance cemented his place as a genuine star in the boxing world.
I can't see how you can score that fight 8-4, but listen, no complaints either way, other than I just am mesmerised by that kid in there. Yeah. Mesmerised. To go in there after all that time out the ring, after everything that he's been through, in that kind of occasion, and deliver that performance with that set of bollocks, I actually can't believe it. And tonight, he has become a superstar.
Michael Buffer also gave his opinion, noting that Conor Benn has shown he's a serious contender and a powerful presence in the welterweight ranks. He complimented the match for its excitement and high energy, and recommended that Benn now target a clash with Jaron Boots Ennis at 147 pounds. Buffer expressed strong belief that Benn's future looks promising after such a standout showing.
I thought it was very exciting. Conor Benn definitely in the welterweight division is going to be a force to reckon with. I'd love to see him fight Boots. It would be a great welterweight fight, or maybe Teofimo move up to 47, which is, obviously his natural weight for Conor and Chris Eubank. The future's bright for both guys. It was such a great fight.
Moreover, Michael Buffer voiced his disagreement with the judge's verdict, pointing out that Conor Benn clearly controlled the early rounds, particularly the first 3 to 5. Although he acknowledged he wasn't judging the bout officially, he felt the final decision didn't align with what unfolded in the ring. Buffer also emphasized the noticeable size gap between the fighters and applauded Benn for showing the heart and grit of a champion, even while facing a physical disadvantage.
I could see it being scored that way. I might have had it closer. I didn't write my scores down. Very good first 4 or 5 rounds for Conor, and then size does make a difference, as they say. You can see that happening, especially the last 2-3 rounds.
Derek Chisora shared his view, saying the match should have ended in a draw. He admitted the fight delivered on the hype, but firmly believed it was too evenly matched for either man to take a defeat, as both had their moments throughout the contest.
Well, I believe it's a draw. Both fighters, nobody needs to lose today. Draw.
If you had to give it to someone, anyone edged it?
No. They worked hard in the gym. They trained hard. So It's a draw.
That's it for today's video. So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about the fight? Share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Also check out our other videos on the screen right now